past the macabre and dangerous obstacles either side of her towards you horsemen and women. Many of the men around you reach for their amulets, tokens, or fetishes of Wotan or Donor, and a mutter ripples out between them as the White Lady approaches. The three lords under Antia's command will urge their steeds forward towards the woman.
So there's just one, and she's a Saith Kona then by mark and bearing. Interesting. And she's the only one that's issued out from the settlement.
That's right, though there's others in there and upon its walls. She's the only one who walks out to parley. And all of like the retinue of Altzen, Ha, and Dallinger do not ride forth, just those three. They're kind of almost like quelled and would be lucky to not have to.
Yeah, I'll go. There's no way I'm not going if I'm there.
A wise woman. Perhaps she leads them. Jarl Ingvar.
We'll see how wise she is. I would probably want Droplout to come with me if that wouldn't like.
Oh, we can't hear you, Lloyd, if you're speaking.
Oh, I probably want Droplout to come with me. If that wouldn't break protocol too much, since she would know things about this woman and there might be a connection there, might be able to figure out some middle ground. And I would definitely go as well. I don't know if you heard that or not.
No, I didn't, but I assumed you'd want to. That's 5 of you ride forth then to her. And she will look about, perturbed, nostrils flaring, wind unbound, whipping about in the cool wind and an ice and glare. For a woman not so old, half your years maybe, Droplaug, looks up defiantly, despite being outnumbered. And there's the southern speech of Zaylan that passes between them in a hurried exchange, bits and pieces of which you can determine rake. And she stands defiant and questions them as their intent and the reason that they've come here, and to answer for calls that they've slain their lord. And they argue that she might bend the knee to them or make some point of homage and give up the daughter of Rikus to Antia, Adelstin, to which she refuses and accuses your pay mistress and you, your host by proxy, of having murder and greed in your heart, a dragon sickness, and that she will obey no law from that woman's forked tongue, and much insult that Ha and Dallinger seem to withstand diplomatically, but Altzen is incensed, incensed by the insult to his mistress, and you'll be able to kind of ascertain this, and maybe in like be murmuring translations of it to your lord and party as it kind of transpires in front of you.
Tell her that these...
Eventually the woman refuses to open the gates and will keep them barred against the servants of Antia, whom she accuses as a poisoner of her father and an organizer or orchestrator in her husband's death. And Altzen looks like he's ready to draw his blade and profane the birch, which he doesn't, but like he looks as close as a man like him might go to it.
I'll like lean over to Rake and say, tell her that these men are from this land, and so they respect a lot of these old traditions. We're not from here. We don't respect them. And if the ram touches the walls, so to speak, there'll be no one spared inside if my Northmen get in there.
Yeah, Rake will look not surprised by it, but just kind of but like, okay, like this is the direction that this is going. But he'll look to the woman and he'll translate that as best as he can in his like chopped Zaylander tongue to try to at least get the sense across to it.
And she listens to your words and obviously spies your meaning and looks to like Ingvar, who'd given the initial pronouncement before saying to you, "Your pay mistress worships the candle god, they say. She has fallen prey to their heathenry and forgotten these old ways. She has employed you savage raiders of the north to bear out her justice, which is tainted. She is evil, and we will withstand you at our walls to great cost."
Did we see any evidence? Of course. Well, she had a relationship with the church that we first went to, but she still held Droplag in esteem, right?
At court, certainly, and publicly, yes.
I think I would look to the Jarl, and my hands are sort of smoothing my braid as I should be holding the dignity of her age and position, but will kind of put her head to one side with a grim smile of some compassion to this younger lady. And we'll say, perhaps she also has the silver tongue where she's able to make herself understood. Little sister, is it your role to look to ills already done and those that have died, or rather to look after those that yet live?
She muses on your word, but seems to rankle at the title you'd given her, but is not forthcoming with a retort, as if like waiting like an answer to your own rhetorical question.
You say this lady follows the candle god, and yet I, who follow the old ways, was shown much respect in her court.
Do you believe honestly that it's true? She uses you as a tool, elder sister, as you use your master as a tool.
If she can pay us as much as the dame pays us, then we won't attack the walls, Ingvar will say. I don't care what god she worships or what she's in league with. She's paying us a lot of money, and so we're going to see this through. I don't want to kill this woman. She's clearly holy in some way. Make that clear to her. But I'm going to if I have to, because we're getting paid. And then he'll like spit and like stare up at the walls.
Give me a perception check. Are you wearing your helm, my lord? Yeah, give me a perception check.
8.
Yeah, learn nothing further than what you'd had before. After you've given the translation, Rake, she'll just nod gravely at that, maybe a prophetic statement. Will not change her position and will defy your army's advance and incite the town to do so, it seems. Alton wants this to happen because it's clear that he wants to seize the place and to take some vengeance upon the White Witch for the way she'd spoken of Antia. And so we'll support Ingvar's statement earlier and try and cajole the other lords to that. Ha, old puppet that he is, readily nods and agrees to anything like initiative that he doesn't have to seize. Though Dellinger is circumspect and silent for now.
Wise woman, do your people have the same custom we have of single combat to sort war? And save all these civilians dying?
It is known of, but we have no champion.
That's a shame for the people who live in the town.
Better to go to Valhall than to serve a poisonous witch.
Yeah, he smiles at that. Better to go to Valhall rich, I think.
She says something weird and unwieldy. It takes you a while to like speak it back to Ingvar Rake, but something along the lines of the only gold wealth is reputation.
Are you this town's champion then, little sister?
Her eyes level as if sensing like a trap of words. As she hazards, I protect it now as my grand aunt's before me, when none other stands to do so.
Perhaps we may settle this, you and I.
In the end, it may come to that.
And
you shall find me amongst my blood on the walls.
Yeah, and I think Droplow would realize that even this would not sate the bloodthirst of the lords present anyway. So she'll kind of cast a glance aside at the knights there and sort of make, finish with a grim smile towards this woman, then step back.
Alton will announce then, very well, if it's your wish, you shall have Flame and the sword, and kind of gives a dismissive gesture in the direction of Rikustin, and looks kind of a bit a fool for it, really. Ha nods gravely before following after him. Dalangir looks towards you and your companions, Blackhand, unliking of something, obviously, from his face.
I'll like linger for a second with the woman, and sort of like turn my head to the side. How do you know that it's the candle god that she serves?
For 20 years, her father would not permit the candle priests, the Hir priester, to erect their stins in his forebears' lands. It is widely spoken, and I believe truth to it, that she poisoned her father for his position. She desires rulership in the land, poisoned by greed. In that, in her first year, she has allowed the Hir priesters to build their stin and spread their, and she won't say religion or faith, spread their word throughout these ancient lands, imperiling the old oak and the old ways, people here forgetting Wotan and Dona, the older things.
Well, it doesn't sit well with me. But you don't have any proof, really. She could have done those things because it's necessary. Many people worship these new god. There's lots of reasons why she might do this. Unless you can pay me what she's paying me, I'm going to have to kill you. I don't want to do that because you're holy. Is there nothing we can do here?
Leave. Leave now, for the wolves of the foxes come crawling.
We can't do that. And then he'll shrug and head back.
And she'll watch you all leave. And unless there's no further words for her, we'll eventually turn and go inside the doors, which seal her up in Rikusholm.
This the lord that had some misgivings do we know if he is a follower of the old ways or the candle god?
As far as anyone knows or have you seen, he observes the old ways as fervently as he attends to his lady.
Who knows what these strangers do in their own land? This candle god will never find purchase across the seas.
The priests. They were unarmed, undefended. Maybe this woman lets us in, and on the way out, when we leave with our money, we kill them. It would put a stop in some way to this candle god spread.
Might. Or perhaps blowing on the spark instead of putting it out would send it flying even stronger. Those things have a habit of dying hard. If you strike against it, it may be taken as a sign of faith, a sign of strength, that through their resilience they will eventually come to recover and spread further. Unless we can stomp it out entirely. I'm just gonna shake his head.
If it is coin you want, my Jarl, would that not strike at the hand that carries the silver?
Yes, I suppose so.
But I agree. This candle god is worrisome. I would not like to see this flame carried further afield.
No. We should speak to the Coldbrander when we get back about it. Pass a law that no travellers, no missionaries be welcome in Isklof, that they should be killed upon arrival.
And what of this lord here that wears such a dark face? He seems not to agree with the other lords.
Is he simply a coward?
How did he fight in the battle previously?
Sorry, who was this?
The one guy
Alinger.
that looked, yeah.
He fought from horseback with the other cavalry and Alton on the flank on the other side from you guys, while Radboud Wideson held the center.
And like bravely?
So he's a reader.
Yeah.
Effectively.
I guess we're no great fans of cavalry combat.
No.
As far as bravery goes.
But yeah, he's like a landed man and like direct vassal to the Dame, so well coined and equipped.
And what news of the Fox? Are his forces moving? Do we know? Have you heard?
That's what she said. Didn't she? She said the fox was on the way.
When you said there was no other way, she said
Yeah.
there is, that you should flee before the wolves and the foxes come crawling. The wolf was Radboud's symbol.
Okay.
The Sibold de Foks' sigil is the stag, though his moniker is
Hmm.
de Foks.
Is it a reputation for slyness and cunning, by any chance, or?
Yeah, it would be like poisonous rumor about him,
Mhm.
as far as his rivals were concerned.
The only risk I see here is to be caught while we siege this place.
If this man is a fox and self-interested, maybe we could work something out with him. He doesn't want to die, I'm sure. Maybe there's a way to weaken these people and still get our money.
Yeah, I'll kind of sniff and look over at the rest of the army and think, I wonder if they will seek to spend us first against the wolves.
We'll refuse. We're not here to die for them. They have fodder for that.
At this point, Brecky the Poxed and Berg the Younger will come up and hold your horses while you dismount, and you can see where like Ingvar's tent's been erected first by the crew of the Stríðshestur and Sibold combined. So you can like move on out of the cool wind and like occasional sleets into the growing warmth in there, and hear the dulled sounds of the artifice of your men outside, while you seek further counsel outside of the weather, having been back to the camp now. You can hear trees being felled and the sound of saws.
If we sent someone to speak with the fox on his way here or in his town, and we told him of what was happening here in troop numbers, then there could be a terrible battle and a great deal of suffering could happen. And it's possible that the Dame would lose a great many men. Wouldn't be ideal for her, I suppose. If she's a candle worshipping heathen, then maybe that's correct. The fox gets away, we don't quite catch him. But there's been a great battle, and no one could blame us for that.
That jeopardize any of our current dealings with her? Throw anything that we're obligated to do outside and render any of our agreements void as a result? If so, we could danger ourselves.
Well,
She's promised a lot, but to her it's a fickle thing. It almost seems that the money is of little consequence. I fear if we anger her in the wrong ways, that she might not even bother. She's already shown herself to be treacherous towards the other people that she works with. There's no reason to think that she would not do so with us if she saw it in her better interest to do so.
But if she loses the bulk of her forces here, they are here, I think, she'll have less bargaining power.
Yes. We must keep her weak, else she will seek to sacrifice us to settle all. Once the lands are won and the battles are fought.
I agree. Then you should go. Speak with the fox. You can appear as anyone, and they respect your kind here. More even than at home.
If that is my Jarl's wish.
We won't be breaking any oaths as I see it. We swore to come here and kill the Fox and Wideson. Is that the guy we killed? Rikus. And we've killed one, and we're attempting to kill the other. Though for some reason we are here at this town when we should be at the Fox's town. And they intend to throw men away on this town. And so, throw men away they will.
And what is it you would wish me to offer?
A chance to win, as he sees it, I suppose. We'll be here, besieging. Very dangerous time for an army, climbing the walls.
Perhaps a promise not to fight, but to wait and watch. And see which way the wind blows.
We could offer him sanctuary at home.
I cannot forget where our boats are moored, though, my Jarl.
He doesn't have to appear as himself. Could you make a body look like him?
Excuse me while I consult my notes.
I don't know if you can do that or not, but Ingvar thinks you can do anything, so.
If only I had the designer of the game.
Oh, maybe it's like quite a high. There's a skin shift, but I think that's quite a high level thing.
Do you mean is to say to him, like, give him terms for if he is defeated that you'll smuggle him away?
Yes. Instead of killing him.
Yeah, I think I can only do it. It's self.
Okay. Yeah.
I've just got abbreviated notes here. So.
Oh, that's what we were gonna do with the other guy. That's what I'm thinking of it. We were gonna.
I was gonna take his
form. Yeah.
His form, but I can only do it for like an hour or
Okay.
something. So it's kind of quite difficult.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to explain when we don't have the body.
Up to 8 hours, sorry. So that's quite good.
She won't accept exile, I don't think. Or maybe she would.
Would he?
Oh, would he? Yeah, well, he will have less of a choice in the matter, I think, because it's like do this or get killed.
Yeah.
But I think like there is something to the idea of like throwing a lot of her resources away, like weakening her in this battle, because this is the main bulk of like her forces, right? The army that's here. Was her
Yep, the
husband's
majority
army. Yeah.
of the hosts. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a very narrow path we must walk in a foreign land. I scarcely understand their speech, Jarl, and these strange gods, strange words. If we cannot be seen to betray her while our boats are in her harbour, and yet she is less likely to betray us if she feels weak.
And how do we do it? If you can disguise yourself and leave the camp, or if Rake can, he speaks their language at least.
Oh, so Rake, you actually speak the language, or are you just using the silver tongue?
No, I'm at the same. So me and Droplog both can speak
okay,
at the
same
same
amount.
proficiency. Yeah.
But we're not sort of eloquent. I don't think
So who's it's what's his name? The writing guy, or thrall, who can speak it, right?
Ranulf. Yeah.
Ranulf. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, it is tricky because. There you go.
I was just saying it'd be difficult, I think, to pass off as like a genuine member of the culture
Yeah.
just because of that, of just like speaking broken and like unfluent. That I don't imagine successfully being able to pass, as one of them.
Yeah, well, I guess the thing is, in my head, the idea is like one of you goes and like whatever, knocks on the gate and it's like, hey, we're with the Northmen, and like there's a big battle about to happen over in this town, and your forces could make the difference, and Dame Antje wants you dead. She's hired us to do that. We don't have to kill you, kind of thing, something like that might be, because then we can hurt her quite badly, her forces and stuff, and then it gives us more bargaining power. I think. I don't know. Maybe
Do we know like for sure that this guy is gonna come to this fight at all?
No.
Like, do we have any?
No. We don't know.
His forces might be in the field anyway.
The small concern there would be that we basically like let him know to come kill us,
Yeah.
by telling him that we're there.
And he could just
that we're
take
gonna
us
do that.
hostage too. But I think Droplag will look up at the crows that seem to be just following us now, knowing where the army goes. Corpses are sure to follow, and then probably glance over at the other lords, which I take it are probably convening a council of war or something.
Imagine you guys were in your own like pavilion provided, but if you were to like go outside for air, you'd see another one being erected, and then like soldiers' tents after that. Some men like being the short straws of having to dig trenches for latrines or ditches before the walls. And by the amount of like lumber that's being felled and such, you predict that Alton and Dinagir here and Har and the rest have ordered the place to be besieged, or else they wouldn't be entrenching like this.
Crazy, like this plan of theirs. I'm going to besiege this town. It's going to take forever. The guy could run away.
Yeah, they can afford to have men shot down claiming the walls, whereas your crew can't.
No.
Look, Jarl. The crows gather. Best perhaps find what it is, what plans these lords are making, lest they make them for us. Perhaps they know where the Fox's forces lie.
Let's find out. Yeah, so I'll make my way outside then to wherever the tent is where the leaders are, and just like muscle my way in.
Take Ranulf. Do you want us three to come with you?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, they'd have food and drink in there, and a place would be made for you to join them, like tables being set up by servants, and like soldiers marching to and fro outside as the morning went on. And they will like briefly stop their conversations at your introduction, and then once you're like seated, continue talking about. It seems as if they're looking to fell trees beyond to butter down the central door and pour troops in inside. Cover that with the flatbowmen that they've brought, who are of poor quality in battle, and have the main of their host try and scale ladders onto the walls, synchronized with the battering ram, and they're arguing over who should go where and to do what. And as like Droplag probably like hinted, you're a chess piece on their table, so to speak. They are discussing without like you there, nor that I disparage your entry. And Dalangir will give a my lord to you in like struggled Sudska, but the rest merely like remark your presence with their eyes and nods.
I guess I'll wait for a few minutes and kind of let them chat amongst themselves, but I'll be looking at the map or whatever it is set up and sort of like thinking about the siege myself. Like, is it an entirely walled settlement, and like is it really big? Are there stone walls, or like
No, they're not stone walls. They're earthen mounds, and then like reinforced by walls, like earthen walls and stone walls on top of that. So not stone, like mortared, but like laid flat stone.
Mm-hmm.
And the outside, like the exterior of the town, like outside of the walls, which is the larger part of it, is mainly abandoned at your approach or like torn down,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all inside the walled part. So the town itself is not technically walled. Like you have already occupied more than half of it. But all the populace have like gone inside the raised section. Ladders or like will scale it, like it won't require anything of greater construct than that as far as like how high and precarious the walls are.
Okay.
But yeah, you think a battering ram against the earthen, the wooden door you saw Inga, the White Witch, come out of, would take quite some work.
Like the army of this place, we defeated, right? Like they came and
Yep.
Right, so it's civilians.
Very few made their way back, and it would be levy and militia and like what men were left behind from the main host.
Right. Okay. And
so you'd be safe in thinking you outnumber them, like your entire host outnumbers them quite easily.
Right, and outqualities them most likely, since we killed most of their soldiers.
Yep. And a lot of their
walls,
quality was the first to fall.
Are they? Do we like? Is it small enough that we could cross the walls in several places at once?
Yeah, that seems to be their plan, like with like the stones and sticks and marks they have.
You cut out, Nico.
Check.
Yep, you're back.
Hello, sorry. Yeah, it seems as if they want to send like half a dozen at least ladder parties up, assaulting the walls at the same time as like when the ram touches the gate, and withdraw their flatbow fire at that point. Try and like cover the advance with flatbow fire at the walls.
I assume they want to take the place whole. They don't want to destroy it.
No, they want to use it to like house and bill it in, and to like eat its supplies and like keep their wounded there, and then reinforce either from the populace here or await reinforcement from Antia before pushing north. So they definitely don't want to raise the place. I guess in a way they'll want to sack it. If it comes to men having to rush under arrow fire and clamber up the walls to seize the place, they'll be sacking, like no two ways about it. And even the arguments that there'd been earlier after the battle at Old Irk between some of your men and the others about looting rights, even that goes out the window. Even you guys would be kind of forgiven or part of the sacking that would go on, I think.
Right.
If this is what it's come to.
They do thralls here or no?
Nope.
No. Okay.
They have servants, but they do not uphold slavery.
Here's a strategic question, I guess, for you, Lloyd, out of character. Would like bad visibility and weather be better for us tactically or for them?
For us, I think, because they're trying to shoot down at us, right? Because I think if it was like a heavy fog or like even heavy rain, if it's not mud that we're climbing, like will make their archers worse, right? Like particularly fog and things like that, I think.
Because I may or may not be able to, and by that I mean I definitely can, summon an actual storm with very heavy rain.
Huh. Oh, that would wig them out. I think. We could...
Yeah, as long as it didn't mess up the terrain so bad that it made it difficult for us to scale, which I guess is the issue.
Right.
But the visibility would make it worse for their archers, and obviously it's a power move thing too.
Yeah. In scaling would rain make it harder? Because it's covered in stone, right? Like the ramparts are covered in stone, so...
Rendered in some parts. I think like heavy rain would make it a serious like issue for you guys ascending it, as much as it would impair their shots.
Yeah.
Like it would be bad for both sides. It would reduce their effectiveness of fire, but it'd also make you more open to it by like stumbling and slipping down and stuff like that.
Okay, so it would be mucky on their way up.
Yeah, in some parts, not around like the gate where it's reinforced with flat stone and lumber, but like around parts of it where it's like literally earthen mound, like up. It's got like pallets on top.
Okay.
Man,
Yeah, that might be slick.
Churned up by the very soldiers trying to climb it. We also have to
devious.
think about whether we want to try and hang back and let these guys wear themselves down a little bit, or whether we want to go for the quick, decisive victory.
I want to not lose men. Is the thing that I want to do. Lose as few men as possible. So I would probably say that we pick a ladder spot and then we are deliberately slow about it, like the ladder breaks or something on the way in, and we have to like stop to, and everyone like has a shield and takes a dodge action for like 6 turns, and then we start moving, something like that, because I don't want to lose all these like Radlord servants and friends in this battle I don't even want to be in, you know. I guess it depends on where they want to put us, but I'll just argue that I'm not going first through the gate. Like, we already held the hardest part of the battle last time, and we lost too many men in it, and we're not doing it again, kind of thing. I think, well, Ingvar's not afraid to say that to them, you know.
Yeah, once that's translated, Alton here will take issue with it, and like begin like tirade in Zale, but Dalinger will rise to your defense and point out that the Northmen are the best heavy infantry, and once the breach is made, they should be punched in there, not wasted on the walls or seizing the gatehouse. And he says it to them with conviction, like he believes that it's wisdom, but then he also kind of gives that briefest of glance to you, Blackhand, as he goes to take his place, like that was marked.
Mm-hmm.
I'll whisper. Oh shit! No, actually, you already said you were going to reduce the place.
Alton and he will agree to what you say, Blackhand, and will move your token from like the ladders on the walls to like back behind the ram for after it's pushed open.
Yes, because someone needs to guard against an attack by the fox.
I'll ask them then, what do they know of the fox? His forces? Like, are they comparable to our own? Surely not. And does anyone know about his movements?
They think his force was equal to or smaller than Rikus's, and after they rode out of Adelston, here old hoary Haas scouts have reported that Rikus's forces have pulled back north, that had minor skirmishes. But when the whole host was reckoned under Dame Antia, they fled. And he kind of says that pompously, or like in an like mocking way.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't shared by Dalinger. Like, that doesn't
No.
give him comfort the way that it does to Haas saying it.
Yeah, nor me.
Alton, it seems, is not worried of the fox, and that if he were to strike them, that would do their work for them, and they not have to take him at his sten with his army defending it. Can do him as they've done to, or intend to do to Rikus, defeat his army in the field so that the seizing of his holdfast is easier.
Rake will lean over to Ingvar to speak quietly, like beyond these other lords hearing, and we'll just say, if there is something you would like said to the fox, short, 9 words, no more, I can speak it to him.
That's interesting. I'll think on it.
Very well, it is decided, my lords, he says, gesturing out to like the plan before it, where like the host of Adelston will spread out to try and seize the walls and bust in the gate under the fire of crossbowmen. The rear will be guarded by the cavalrymen and the supplied wounded.